It is the moment of truth, everyone. It's the moment of truth. I'll turn the sponsor thing off just for a second. Actually, let me do it here, so it's not in the way, so everybody can read what they need to read. It is the moment of truth. We have the Anvil Paladin Q&A ready to go. So now it is, did CIG answer the questions? Answer the legitimate questions around how will the Paladin compete with the ships that have been recently nerfed to it. So let us see. So here's the Anvil Paladin Q&A. Apparently there are 19 questions. What is the loner is the first one. The Redeemer is the loner, which we all knew, which is absolute poetry. It's really fun. Regarding VTOL, okay. Who cares? Is there an engineering room? Who cares? Does the Paladin offer escape pods for its crew? Who cares? How does the Anvil Paladin compare to the Aegis Redeemer? Here we go. While both are gunships, they have different takes on that role and play style. I see. The recent changes to the Redeemer's turret, weapon, and shield sizes are offset by a significant boost to maneuverability. That was a lot of the comments that we saw in Twitch chat. But where does the gunship role and maneuverability fit in at the moment in a master mode's world? It doesn't. In the world of master modes, it is mostly a DPS race at this time. Is that their goal? No. So this might be a made-up question. I see some Twitch chatter saying that, but they are answering the questions that were not made up, right? Like they are talking about the recent changes to the Redeemer's turret weapon. They're addressing it. Maybe not in the way that you'd like, but they're addressing it. So, like, what is it? A racing gunship? Where does maneuverability and boost fit in to this? It's hard to tell right now, and it's probably never going to be easy to tell or ever seen, really. In the end, DPS is king, always has been, especially during master modes, and since the recent change was with that. Both ships have strengths and weaknesses. The Paladin is trading agility for raw firepower and speed for armor. So now it's better defended and has better firepower. So it's just better. It's just better because there's no way the Redeemer flies well enough to protect itself from light and medium fighters. That would be its right. So it's just rip Redeemer. Goodbye. The Paladin is just better, and the people who make the ships don't understand the video game is very clear. Because I see ships like the Gladius and the Arrow getting maneuverability in sort of the old way potentially, right? But the Redeemer's maneuverability is not going to be this thing. Gunships and maneuverability. I'm not seeing it. I need to see an example of where you think the Redeemer's maneuverability would make sense. Leave a comment in the Twitch chat. Leave a comment in YouTube when this goes up on YouTube, because I'm not seeing it, but I am willing to hear everybody out, and maybe there's a place for this. The Redeemer's an awesome ship, especially its internals. I absolutely love it. I'm sure the Paladin will be very cool as well. But this is not hiding the fact of what they did. Reducing the Redeemer's weapon size and delivering this ship when you've known full well that you were going to do this for a really long time. And some of the people who are making these decisions absolutely know the problems with the DPS race that is master modes. So this is a very obvious, and still we see you, CIG, and we see your behavior, and do better, right? The handling of the Paladin will be like the Redeemer was before the recent changes, which is more befitting to a ship of its size and shape versus the much more compact Redeemer. And unlike the Redeemer, the Paladin has no modular room, which is still planned for the Redeemer's lower floor. I never even knew that. What other plans did the Redeemer have? I didn't even remember that. So now they're trying to upsell us on some modules for a ship that nobody wants anyway, after the Paladin probably, but okay. When will it start production? It's in white box? They're already making it? Oh my God, that's crazy. That makes it a little bit less bad because you're not buying the concept of a ship that's never going to get made. But how does that make you feel when you know some of your concepts are not being made? Probably makes you feel pretty bad. The Redeemer's supposed to have sophisticated shields, but they're size 2. Why does the Paladin have a size 3 when its focus is on armor? Good question. A ship's shield size does not confer any sophistication bonus, but instead alters factors such as shield health, capacity, and resistance to damage types. Generally, the larger the size, the larger the pool. However, having multiple smaller shields can be a bonus in terms of redundancy, which we've never seen the result of just yet. And regeneration rates over fewer larger items. In this case, 6 size 2 shield generators versus a single size 3 generator. Yeah. If it smells like shit, it probably is shit. And for the moment, it is shit because we don't know anything about engineering and, yeah, the power draw and all this stuff. So they are definitely going to the developers and asking these questions. Whether or not these things are going to be a reality in the game is hard to say. Is there storage on the Paladin? Of course, there's gun racks and storage for the crew. Compared to similar ships like the Valkyrie and Legionnaire, how well armored is the Paladin? The Valkyrie is the better comparison size-wise. Regardless, the Paladin is well armored and able to make a significant amount of incoming fire. They didn't even answer the question. They didn't even answer the question. Okay. How fast does the size 5 remote quad turret slide between at the top and bottom positions? Who asked this question? Nobody asked this. What kind of question is this? But it won't move quicker than the Scorpius's rail turret. Okay. Okay. Is the Paladin still efficient if I play with just one friend as a duo with them using the remote quad turret? While all weapon stations are usable with only 2 total crew, it is not the optimal loadout due to restrictions on the pilot-controlled wing weapons. See below for more details. All right, so actually, is there only one size 5 turret and it goes up and down on the Paladin, and then it's 2 size 4s on the Redeemer? That makes it less crappy. It was always my understanding that it was 2 size 5s for some reason. But okay. Does the pilot wing weapons play as gimbaled when not remotely manned by its dedicated gunners? Yes. Okay. And then they answer the whole, if nobody's in the seats, the pilot can use them. If somebody's in the seats, the pilot can't use them. And everybody knows that fighting against the position that the pilot is flying in with turrets is way worse than having the pilot be able to use it. But let's see what else they say. If nobody's in the seat that control the wing weapons, then the pilot has control of them, albeit locked in the forward arc. Due to their location, their convergence is limited frontally, so they're only suitable for targets at mid to long distance. However, when independently controlled, they have the full freedom of motion and can look pretty much in a 180-degree arc in all directions, allowing players to engage targets below, above, and behind. Okay, that's kind of interesting, and is a trade-off that's good, I would say. How's the visibility with the blast shields activated? I don't think that really matters. Can we replace any weapons on the Paladin? Of course, right? Let's continue. The internal decks show rooms that look rather empty. Can you explain rooms 5, 6, 8, and 9? They're traversal areas, bunk beds, stuff like that, I guess we'll see. With the ammo system in the future, players are wondering about ballistic reloading. We still plan for ships to be able to rearm ballistic weapons, either directly on the gun in question or from the ship's internal storage, fed by players directly. Who the fuck is going to go outside of their ship to reload? That's weird. Can the ship fly across the system for long-range operations? Its quantum fuel tank will have similar capacity to the Valkyries. Do we know what the Valkyrie is right now? It just went up. It just went up. It's probably in the 2 to 3 million range, would be my guess. Which means, yes, you could do quite a bit of flying, depending on the drive that you have, obviously. How many exits is the Paladin? Single side entrance / exit ramp. All right. And that's it. So they kind of address it. Valkyrie's currently very, very low capacity. What is the capacity? So they kind of answered the question, but kind of didn't. 1.8 SCU. That's it. So around 2 million, which is, it's doable. You can get around a little bit. They addressed it. New ship is better than the old ship. Yeah. Is there an engineering room? Yeah, this is, again, it really comes down to Master Modes is a DPS race. You put more DPS on this thing wins. That's really it. If you are using a gunship, you want to fire the guns. Which one has better guns? This one. So it just wins. And then we need to know the price of it, right? And if the price is higher, lower, or no, we did know the price of it, right? It's lower than the Redeemer so that you could break CCU chains. I think that's what it was. And yeah, so I find this whole thing to be incredibly funny still. It's very clear that CIG is way more focused on delivering a ship that people want to buy than making a balanced video game at the current stage. And my frustration with it is, I get it at the current stage. You need to make money in order to finish the project. I understand. What I don't understand is why you're making it so difficult to make the balance game when you do go to do that, right? It's this constant power creep that is making the ships you used to sell obsolete, and so on and so on and so forth. So it just makes it really weird and difficult and just stupid, it feels like, from an outside perspective. So I don't know. And yeah, enjoy your 4.5 weapons, I guess, and your pilot controlled weapons as well, because this just killed the Redeemer from on paper. We'll see how it plays out. But for right now, on paper, with the way Master Modes works, this is just better. It just is. Yeah, they can balance it with capacitor and stuff like that. We'll just have to see. But on paper, at the moment, it's hard to see why you would want a Redeemer over this. And that's it. It's really hard.